Welcome to Let's Talk Football with me, Chris.
And me, Richard.
The podcast bringing you the latest in football news. Every week we discuss all the big talking points from the world of football and preview all the action in the week to come.
In this week's podcast, Brendan Rodgers and Graham Potter are the next men to lose their Premier League jobs after their teams lose again. Manchester City stick 4 past a poor Liverpool. Arsenal do the same to Leeds. And Newcastle beat United at St James's Park.
Lots to talk about this week, plenty of stuff, and even some breaking news before we go on air as well to discuss. So, let's talk football. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
So, the first thing that I just saw actually before we went live, before we started recording, was Mitrovic has got his ban.
Oh, yes.
Announced.
Yeah, 8 games.
8-game ban. Oof. For Mitrovic for that moment of madness.
Yeah.
I think it was for the whole thing. I don't think it's just for the...
No, it's not just for the shove on the referee, no.
It's the aggressiveness that came with it, I think. Yeah. Marco Silva's also obviously had his suspension announced as well.
2-game ban as well, I think.
Yep, so he won't be on the sideline for a couple of games either, which is big for Fulham, really. They've had a really good season.
Yeah.
And this might just derail their hopes. Well, I mean, it's practically ended Mitrovic's season.
Yeah, because he'll
get what,
2 games to play.
Two games left.
Yeah.
And they dropped down to 10th as well in the league after the latest round.
Yeah.
So, not ideal.
No, but I think they'll just be happy that they're in the Premier League.
They're going to survive.
Yeah.
Which is what they haven't done, to be honest, have they, the last few years?
No, last few times it's been up, down, up, down. So,
yeah. Get themselves back in and stay in. It'll be interesting to see what they do in the summer.
I mean, they're still above Chelsea.
They are still above Chelsea. Speaking of Chelsea, Graham Potter.
The car crash that was expected to happen has happened.
Yeah. It was inevitable, I think, over the last few weeks. Thing is, I thought he'd started to get something out of him.
Yeah, he started to get a tune out of them. They started to play better. They started to win, more importantly. And
then...
Yeah, to be fair, they drew and then they lost.
Yeah.
So it does seem a little bit of a surprise that they've done it. Maybe it's the league position that's forced them to do it.
I think. Obviously, it is because he'd got them through to the
quarterfinals.
Yeah. So it's obviously the league that they're not happy with the way that the team are performing.
Yeah.
But we all know. I mean. There's a lot of sympathy going around, or empathy, I should say, rather than sympathy for Graham Potter, because everyone knows the situation that he was put into.
Yeah, he was just given a truckload of players and told to deal with it.
Yeah. And
bizarre.
I don't know what's going. I think I saw somewhere. Someone said it reminded them a lot of when Abramovich first went into Chelsea with Ranieri.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what happened to Ranieri? They bought all those players that summer and said, "Here you go, Claudio, do something with that."
Yeah.
And it was like, well,
and to be fair to Claudio, he was given time to do that.
Well, he was to a degree, but he only lasted a season. He didn't go to the end of
the season, did he? No.
Yeah.
Whereas Graham's only lasted 6 months.
Yeah.
And you feel sorry for him. Yeah, really do.
Yeah, you do a bit. It was just a really tough situation, I think, for any manager to go into, let alone, one with with a fair amount of inexperience at that level with that level of player.
I was going to say, particularly managing a group of egos. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got to have a hard skin to do that.
Interesting to see. Obviously, the man we were talking about possibly going to Tottenham is now heavily linked with going to Chelsea.
Yeah.
He's also heavily linked to going everywhere at the minute, Nagelsmann.
I mean, the managerial merry-go-round in the summer is going to be fascinating.
It really will be. I think a lot of what Nagelsmann decides... Because Chelsea are going to struggle, obviously, because Nagelsmann technically still works for Bayern.
Yeah, they can pay him out of his contract if they want to. Obviously, he's on gardening leave, technically. But so...
Yeah, exactly. So he's
still
under
less
contract
in the summer than what they would pay now, is what I understand.
Yeah.
The question is, for me, would Julian Nagelsmann want to go and manage Chelsea?
Well, money talks. But then on the flip side of that...
In fairness, if you get sacked after 6 months, you get a £20 million payout.
Yes.
So you're laughing, really.
If Ancelotti leaves Madrid, then it becomes a different
If Ancelotti leaves Madrid, that opens the game up completely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And To be honest, we talked about it last week, but that is probably one of the main reasons Bayern made their move for Tuchel now.
Yes. Yeah, to get the man they wanted. Yeah.
Yeah, rather than potentially lose out on him in the summer.
Yeah.
But yeah, tough one for Graham Potter. Obviously, Villa played very well at Stamford Bridge at the weekend, and they have been, since Emery's come in.
Well, once they got the first goal,
well.
it never looked like they were going to lose the game. Villa.
Yeah, I mean they struggled really to create anything of. I mean, they had a lot of the ball. Chelsea, they did have some shots, but none of them were necessarily.
I mean, Mudryk's one was awful.
Oh yes,
awful. It's like just take another touch. You didn't need to hit it that early.
No, it's true.
And to be fair, Villa, every time they broke forward, they looked like they were going to score another one.
Oh yeah, absolutely. It was
and John McGinn's
very,
goal,
very open.
Very good goal, John McGinn's goal.
Yeah. I think as well. I think Chelsea, obviously, they're without Thiago Silva at the minute.
Yeah,
and that's a big loss. I think he is. I mean, as experienced as Koulibaly is at this stage, he's not very.
He has a moment in him.
He does, doesn't he? And it doesn't quite work. But Chelsea fans probably look at the team and think you're playing Loftus-Cheek as a wing back.
Yeah.
Reece James as a right-sided centre-back.
Yeah.
You're not getting the best out of Reece James in that situation.
No, same with Cucurella on the other side, technically.
Yeah, Cucurella as well playing as the left side. So you've only really got one central defender in there, and it's not as if you haven't got options in there.
No.
To be able to bring in, which the whole thing just seemed a bit strange to me.
Yeah.
That they went down that route.
But then it was working, as we said earlier. It started to work. You started to see Chelsea playing better football. And,
But they got caught out, but Villa played very, very well. Needed win for Villa.
Yeah.
It kind of puts them into that.
Well, they're safe now, aren't they? Yeah, they're fine.
Yeah.
I mean, they might well be looking upwards, Aston Villa.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, they're only,
2 points away from
2
Brighton,
points.
Albeit they've got games in hand. But, yeah.
Absolutely.
They are making a late push for Europe.
Definitely. The other one then, let's talk about Leicester. Brendan Rodgers, who has had a really tough time with that Leicester team this season.
Yeah. I was surprised by this.
I was a little bit.
I was surprised they've left it as long as they have. They could have done this months ago, Leicester. But I don't understand the timing of it.
I think in particular it was really bad since the World Cup for them, though, hasn't it? You know what I mean? They showed signs before the World Cup.
Yeah, they were starting to improve, and
and then I think what might have been their turning point actually was James Maddison getting injured at the World Cup.
Yeah,
because he was the man, wasn't he? Before the World Cup, he was their guy who was dragging them out of situations. He was in top form, and he got that injury at the World Cup while he was training. I don't even did he play in the World Cup? I don't think he did. Did he?
A couple of minutes. Yeah, I'm sure he did.
But
they've picked up 2 wins since the World Cup.
Trained on there. Yeah, and they haven't. And obviously, he was missing for a few games. Come back, hasn't quite been at the level that he was at.
Yeah.
And to be honest, given the lack of investment that Leicester had, they needed him to be at his best because Vardy, as brilliant as he has been in the Premier League and brilliant for Leicester, he's reached that point in his career now where the goals are slowing up. His pace isn't quite what it used to be, and that was his game.
Yeah.
Getting behind, use the pace.
Yeah.
And that's why the goals have probably slowed up for Jamie Vardy.
And Patson Daka, with all due respect to him, he's not on the same level as Jamie Vardy.
Absolutely not. Neither is Iniacho.
Yeah.
But they've had Tete came in and we thought, okay, they might have found someone else to support, but it really hasn't.
No,
hasn't quite worked for him. And I think I just think that, but they're making Brendan Rodgers the scapegoat. He's a very experienced manager. So where do Leicester go for between now and the end of the season with this one?
Well, they've done a temporary appointment of the 2 coaches that were left.
Well, so in my eyes, what's the point?
Yeah.
They're still the same coaches.
Yeah, they haven't appointed a permanent solution to the problem, much like we haven't, to be fair.
Yeah. You might as well have let him see out the season.
Yeah.
If you're rolling the dice, but you're rolling the dice on 2 people that are already at the training ground training these players every day, what's the point?
Obviously, by the sounds of it, Graham Potter was offered the job, but you wouldn't have known that at the time because Brendan Rodgers was sacked before Graham Potter was.
Yeah.
Just seems very bizarre because there's no one out there really who
No.
you would say
That can help him.
yeah. I mean,
In this
Claudio
situation.
Ranieri was the first person that came to my mind.
Yeah.
That was probably the first thing I thought. They're going to go back to. They've seen what Crystal Palace have done and go, let's get an old manager back.
Yeah, but I mean, at this late, okay, they're not out of it, but the confidence is low. I just don't know. You know, Ranieri hasn't got necessarily the best of records when it comes to being down the bottom of the table.
No.
I mean, because I'm gonna get absolutely hammered here, but I'm pretty sure it was Nigel Pearson, right, who was in charge when they stayed up before they won the league,
Correct.
right? And then he took over because Pearson did the stupid stuff that he did.
Yes. Yeah.
So Ranieri isn't necessarily your guy to get you out of a relegation battle.
But then how long do you give the interim pair? Do you give them a couple of games?
You just need to sort out whatever your solution is now. I think the problem that Leicester will have in bringing someone in is they get relegated, that individual might not want to manage in the Championship, so you need to find someone who, the thing is, if you offer someone a short-term deal to the end of the season, that's not good for the player. That's not necessarily going to help the players.
No.
So you want to make a long-term appointment, or someone who you could say, right, this is your manager now, deal with it, whatever happens.
Yeah.
It'll be odd. It's odd, really. I just don't know why. I just don't know why they've pulled the plug on Brendan Rodgers, who's done a fantastic job for them. Let's be honest.
Yeah, FA Cup win
over the last 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
They have failed to invest in the team.
Correct. Yeah.
Brendan Rodgers, I'm pretty sure, knew this time was coming.
Yeah.
Vardy had come to the end of his time, and
they haven't replaced him. Yeah, they just
haven't
refreshed the squad enough.
And that might be because of the financial place that they find themselves in. Okay, yeah, fine.
But then
you can't sack your manager then and blame him for that when he hasn't really been given anything to spend massively to rejuvenate his squad to push them on. You can't be surprised you're in this situation.
No, you really can't. No.
But yeah, so it was again a good win for
Roy's Crystal Palace.
For Roy's Palace, his first game back.
Roy of the Palace
helps breathe a bit of life.
He does
into Palace, give him a bit more of a gap.
4-point cushion now.
Yeah, 4-point gap rather than what it was before.
It's still so tight down the bottom.
Oh, it still is, isn't it? All the way down.
Jesus.
I mean, Southampton are starting to get cut off though down there.
Yeah.
You're starting, but again, they'll probably win next week and it'll all be fine.
Yeah, the games are running out, as they say, for Southampton.
Yeah, I mean, they lost to West Ham.
Yeah,
obviously
big game.
Sunday.
Big game for them, and
yeah. But I think this is why it might be this tight at the minute, because I think what we've had is a lot of the top half of the league play the lower half of the league, and they haven't really played a lot of each other.
No.
In this second half of the season so far. I think that's why we're finding it so tight. I think now as they all start to play each other in the last 10 games or so,
you start to see where they are.
It'll break out. It'll start to split up, and we'll have probably maybe 4 or 5, I think, going into the final 3 or 4 games, I think, where it'll start to become obvious now.
Did you see the West Ham Southampton game?
I saw bits of this one.
Did you see how long it took them?
But to be fair, for that offside?
Yeah.
To be fair, there was a lot of players.
There was.
To try and work it all through. I don't really blame them for that. You had to get it right.
Yeah, no.
No, I'm sorry. There was a lot of players to try and sort through to go right. Where are we going? Where's the player? Okay, let's find it.
But right, so you could count Declan Rice offside. The bloke behind him, I can't remember what player it was. Offside. There was a one in front.
Can't even name the players.
Offside. The only person you had to look at was Agerd, because he was the bloke. He was the bloke that headed the ball in the net.
Yeah, but you had to find him in there. You see,
he was easy to find. I see him straight away. Literally, just looking at the still of it, you could see he was miles onside.
Whatever. I can't be bothered to argue with you. I can't be bothered. I genuinely can't be asked. Right. Honestly. Where else we're going to go? Let's go to one of the most entertaining. Before we get onto the title race, let's go on to one of the entertaining games for the weekend. Brighton-Brentford.
Yep.
Full of goals.
Fantastic game of football.
Yeah.
Two sides
even had a late minute equaliser. Yeah, and that's what we're going to get from some of these teams now that are like fine. You know, Brentford are okay.
Yeah.
Brighton are more than okay. You know, they're next to each other in the league. Obviously Brighton have got a couple of games in hand, but even with them, they'll stay in the same position, even if they win those. Not necessarily that they will.
But it just showed. Obviously, it ended 3-3, and that was probably the right result.
Yeah, I think so. Definitely, I agree with that. But yeah, it was just a very, very entertaining game, back and forth. Ivan Toney gets another goal.
Yeah.
I always like it when I see Danny Welbeck on the score sheet.
Mitoma's goal was very good. Just a long punt down the field.
Yeah, just old school. I mean, it's not a very Brighton-esque goal, was it? But it was a good one.
But the control from Mitoma to then just loft it over the goalkeeper, who was in no man's land.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Beautiful finish.
Oh,
so that was probably my game of the weekend. But then let's go then to the top of the table. Man City with a bit of a beating over Liverpool.
Yeah. When you consider Liverpool went in front, yeah.
Yeah. And I think the thing is this, I mean, I've seen it already a few places. This discussion is only going to fuel the whole Man City are a better team without Haaland conversation. I've seen it already and I knew it was coming.
Yeah.
Because obviously they did look very good though, City.
They did. I mean, start the second half, they just turned the wick up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the thing is, it wasn't
literally straight away, didn't they?
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily say that Alvarez was important in that build-up play. I think if they come out and played that similar way with Haaland up front, he probably gets the goals rather than everyone else.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But they were very good in that second half, City.
Yeah.
They just took the game away from them.
Very just sort of, they just kept coming and coming and coming, which they do, Manchester City. When they get you in that position, they go for the throat.
Yeah, and it's just a reflection of where Liverpool find themselves this season again. I mean, obviously, you know, you can just look at the team.
Yeah.
You've got what? Rodri, De Bruyne and Gundogan.
Yeah.
Against Elliott, Fabinho
and Henderson.
And aging Henderson, let's say, because, you know, let's not disrespect him or Fabinho for that matter, but you know, they're coming to the end of they've passed their best probably. If we're being completely honest,
a winger. He's not a central midfield player.
Yeah, but he's playing in that three. I mean, technically, it's always gonna end that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, it doesn't matter what the top three are doing.
Obviously, Jack Grealish was having a field day with Alexander-Arnold down that side. He was running the show.
He struggles, Trent, defensively, doesn't he? You know.
Yeah.
He really does. He gets left exposed as well because Salah's never going to trap back.
No, and obviously
Harvey Elliott's not really built for that, so you need Fabinho to go over there and cover it really.
Yeah, and he's having to cover a lot of ground, Fabinho, as he is. Yeah,
yeah, because you know they find themselves exposed and they do it time and time again. Liverpool they keep trying to do this press play with the high line, but the midfield hasn't got the energy to get in the faces of them and. You know, City is so good at moving the ball around you anyway.
They were just picking them off. Yeah.
It's just, the gaps are just going to appear time and time again.
Yeah.
But it was a very important win for City. It keeps them in the hunt. I mean, everyone's saying, it's an 8-point gap, but City do have their game in hand.
And they have to play Arsenal.
And they've got to play Arsenal again. So, you know, I don't know how it all works out, but if City play that game in hand, get it down to 5, beat Arsenal, it's down to 2.
Then they might feel the pressure. I don't think they're feeling it at the moment.
They're not feeling it at the moment at all because, you know, I mean, let's go now and talk about that because they are looking very, very good. And Jesus being back in the team and amongst the goals, which he necessarily wasn't before the World Cup, was he? But getting a couple in this game now that he's back, give him some confidence. But I do think they play better with him in the team. I mean, I know they haven't really missed him in so much that they've still been getting their results, but the way that he just presses and runs after them.
I mean, they lost Nketiah to injury a little while ago, and
and he was playing well in Nketiah before that.
Yeah,
But actually, you know, with having Jesus come back at that time, it's kind of just worked out for him in some ways.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously, you'd like to have them both in your squad, both available. But if it's going to happen, I mean, at least one of them can't get upset if the other one's injured.
Yeah.
If you're injured, you can't get upset that you're not in the team and looking at the guy who's in there because he's in form and you can't get in.
Yeah.
They're both going to get their game time because of it. But at the same time, you'd rather have both options available to you. I'm sure Arteta would say that. Goes without saying, really, but I said it anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But no, very, very good. Again, Odegaard just... what a player.
Yeah.
You'll never say it, I know, but he's such a good footballer. And Smith Rowe's starting to get back in the team again now.
Yeah,
And
I like him, Smith Rowe.
yeah, he's got a few minutes again, didn't he, at the weekend?
Leeds have got lots of injury problems. I know that isn't an excuse. That won't have helped the situation.
It won't help the situation, but they haven't been good Leeds all season, and I do think they're in danger of going. You know, they just don't have that cutting edge that Rafinha gave them.
Yeah.
That little X factor, and it was always going to be hard to replace that. You know,
but they didn't really replace it. No, the guy
didn't
that's come in, the Rutter, is it? I think we've hardly seen him.
No, he's hardly played a game. I mean, he came on for what 15 minutes or so at the weekend.
Yeah. It's like, in fairness, I'm not calling the relegation battle at all at the moment.
No, it's hard to call, but
it's too early to call it.
I still think Southampton are gone.
Yeah,
I'm calling Southampton.
Okay,
I'm quite confident Southampton are probably going to go.
Bournemouth, on the other hand,
Bournemouth. Obviously, we were talking about Fulham at the start. Got a big win, as Bournemouth did.
Yeah,
looking good. Obviously, you fear the worst when they concede the first one. Andreas, but I like seeing ex-United players on score sheets. I don't know why. I just say, oh, I'm doing well. So... There's a load of them. To be fair, they're all over the place. Andreas Pereira, you know, and you fear the worst for Bournemouth because you know they're at home. They've conceded early.
Yeah.
But that second half performance, I thought, was really, really good.
Yeah, really was, and they, you know, two very good goals from Tavernier. First and foremost, the second goal is a scrappy one, but you need to be in there to put it in the net.
Well, that's it. And it was, you know, then we keep saying they need. I feel like I'm saying about all the teams down the bottom, but they do need these wins, but they really did. Yeah. They really did.
I think if you can beat at this point, if you can beat a team in the top half, you might necessarily see that as a bonus point.
I think you might do.
Yeah. But
actually, I think it goes to show as well, Bournemouth are fighting for their lives. So Fulham are probably feeling a bit more comfortable with their position.
Bournemouth's need was definitely greater than Fulham's. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that's probably what, you know, that's what's driven them in that second half. It
would have been the same from the sidelines. Obviously, if you know you need a winner, you push that a little bit harder. You chuck on that extra striker that you would probably have done if you're in mid-table.
Yeah. Absolutely. So it went well for Bournemouth. They pull themselves out of the top three, of the bottom three, I should say.
Yeah.
For the first time in quite a while. Leeds dropped back down. But there's 4 teams on 27 points?
Yeah, 4 teams on 27, including Everton. Although they have played a game more.
Yeah, so let's talk about that game then, being as we're at.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that. Let's start with the Decore red card.
Yep.
Which has caused a lot of debate.
It has.
Mainly around the way Harry Kane reacted.
Yep, but if you had someone...
Well, hold on. Let me finish.
No, I'm ready.
I don't understand the debate.
No, I don't.
Because if that guy does that, he's gone down. If any other player in the Premier League does that, by the way, no one's saying this.
No, because it's Harry Kane.
In fact, there might be a few. I might be over-egging it.
Yeah,
but I think if the guy puts his fingers in your face like that,
he can hurt.
You've got. Well, forget that it hurts. You've got a right to milk that.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a player in the league necessarily who wouldn't.
Yeah.
You know, everyone keeps pointing out this Aaron Ramsdale one.
Yeah.
But I don't. Was that even in playtime?
I'm not 100% sure.
Or was that like at a silly time of the game? But I was just like, do you know what? Fair play.
Yeah.
I was just like, it's like, yeah, okay, it's not the most contact in the world I've ever seen.
It was just the way that Seamus Coleman stood over the top of him and was sort of shouting at him. Like,
yeah,
you've raised your hand to an opponent. It's a red card.
Just stick his fingers in his face. I'm going down. I'll let the ref make the decision.
Yeah. Well, Moussa Dembele
I've got no problem with it.
Moussa Dembele did that a few years ago and got like a 6-game ban for that.
Yeah.
So we might not be seeing Abdoulaye Doucouré anytime soon.
Well, we'll see. But I haven't got a problem. I never had a problem with it.
That's a shame. I was ready. I was up for it.
No, I saw it all earlier, and I just thought that's only happening because it's Harry Kane.
Yeah.
This whole discussion is happening because it's going to make some headlines because his name's Harry Kane.
Yeah.
Like, if any other player, any lower tier, any player under that top tier of players in the league does that.
Yeah.
Nothing.
There's
not a debate happening.
It's a red card, and they just move on.
It's never going to be a thing.
Yeah.
So then you get the goal.
Yep.
Against 10 men.
Yep.
And you're thinking, right, here we go then.
Yep.
Just see this out now. Maybe get another one.
Oh, hang on. Whoa. You'd push for a second goal?
You got to have a go, right? You're playing against 10 men.
Absolutely, you've got to go for a second goal.
But that's not what Steele did, though, was it?
It's not what we bothered to do. We sat back. And we soaked up the pressure.
I mean, you've got a really good defensive record this season.
Mate.
No, you haven't.
We really bloody well haven't.
Hold on.
41 goals we've conceded now in the Premier League.
Oh, that's a shocker.
It's the same as Everton.
Yeah.
And yet we decided we'd sit back against 10 men.
I like it.
Utterly ridiculous.
What happened with Lucas?
Ridiculous.
I missed what happened with Lucas Moura.
Lucas Moura.
Michael
took out, nearly tried.
I wasn't in the room.
Tried to end Michael Keane's career. He was quite late on his ankle, but he was all right. He got up and scored. He was fine.
I was about to say, was that the free kick that they got? Because I remember coming back in the room for the free kick and seeing the goal.
I mean,
I missed the red card.
I didn't even bother to look at it after either. Tottenham of 2008, 2009 in the last month or so, where we don't concede tap-ins anymore. They're all from 25, 35, 40 yards, just flying in the bleeding top corner.
Yep. That's good, that. I think Tottenham have done a very Tottenham thing.
I mean, we had a perfect opportunity.
People keep trying to tell... Well, you keep trying to tell me that's quite Spursy isn't a thing, but that was quite Spursy.
I hate that expression. I hate it.
But it is a real thing, right? You've got to admit.
I really hate that expression.
You've got to admit that it is a real thing, right? Because that last night was very Spursy.
We'd like to.
That was the definition of Spursy. I mean, it's almost like blowing a 2-goal lead at Stamford Bridge when you potentially winning a league title.
We have a tendency to tread on our own feet when things...
It's like coming third in a 2-horse race. It's Spursy.
Not happy. Put it that way. Not happy. I mean, if we're going to continue on the vein that we have last night, or Monday night, whenever you listen to this, we might as well have stuck with the Italian fella. Because we're playing the same football. We're playing exactly the same way. And I thought with getting rid of him, they might take the shackles off a little bit. We might play a little bit more dynamic. But no.
I don't want to worry you. Although I kind of do. Brighton are 7 points behind you with 3 games in hand.
Yep.
Now, granted, I think one of those is against us, so I hope they don't win one of those.
And we're playing. And we play them at the weekend as well.
Oh, okay. So actually, they don't need to win against us. Perfect. So, I mean, that could be quite something.
I mean,
if that happens,
we have the potential. I mean,
Liverpool could only be 2 points off you.
Yeah.
With their 2 games.
But again, we've got. In fairness, we have a really interesting rest of April now. So we play Brighton Saturday. We've got Brentford next week.
That's hard.
We play Newcastle the week after.
Yeah, okay.
We play Manchester United in the midweek of that week.
Are we at your place or our place?
No, we're at home.
Well, no, it's a bit you.
And then we go to Anfield at the end of April.
Oh, that's. Oh, you legitimately could be in 8th.
Don't tell me.
And you legitimately could be in 8th place. Because you're literally playing the team. You got Newcastle above you, then United, Brighton, Brentford, Liverpool.
Yeah.
That run.
No, not Brentford. No, we play Brentford later in the season. Bournemouth.
Oh, I thought you.
No, Bournemouth.
Oh, Bournemouth. I thought you said Brentford.
No, Bournemouth.
Okay, so you got Bournemouth.
Yeah. Which is no guarantees we're going to win that at the moment.
I mean, yeah, considering what Bournemouth did.
Considering we've drawn with Southampton, now we've drawn with Everton. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, you could be in.
I mean, we could literally the wheel could completely come off the wagon.
I mean, it might have already. Then it might be the start. The wheel nut is loose.
I mean, the cart might well be before the horse at this point.
Indeed. It's a very interesting period. That.
Oh, don't.
Absolutely.
I don't want to talk. Can we talk about Newcastle and Man United, please?
I mean, we can do. I mean, I remember waking up Sunday and I thought
terrible things are about to happen.
Yeah, I was just we're probably going to lose today because I just saw the way that they played in the final against us.
Yeah,
and we're a weaker team right now than we were then.
Without Casemiro. Yeah,
without Casemiro, as that protector.
Marcus Rashford's fine though. He's fit again.
Yeah, I don't think he is actually.
He doesn't look 100%.
No, I don't think he should have played.
No,
I think he's carrying a knock again now because you can just see it in the way that he is.
You can see he's not running at full speed.
Yeah. So I don't think he is 100%, and I think he rushed him back in.
In fairness, did you see the April Fools?
Which one?
There was an April Fools that Newcastle were going to give Manchester United a guard of honour for their Carabao Cup.
You fell for that, didn't you?
Win.
I saw you tweet about that. You fell for that, didn't you? Because I saw a tweet from you that morning,
and
I just looked at that and I went, "That's not happening. What are you on about?"
I didn't twig. I just
Line
went on to keyboard
mode
and just went, "What on earth? Why are they doing that? Talk about giving them a psychological advantage."
Yeah, no, you fell for that one. Absolute legend.
I thought they were good value for it, Newcastle.
Yeah, no, they were. You can't not. I mean, we weren't great, obviously, and
yeah.
But I think positive news for us. That's another game out of that ban.
Yeah,
Casemiro done.
So that's
Eriksen,
2 down now.
I think Christian Eriksen's back in training.
Oh, is he? Oh, okay.
Yeah, but he might be a couple of weeks away. I think.
Yeah, he's not going to be fully fit for a little while, is he?
So that's positive. I don't think there's a lot else. Anthony Martial's back.
Yeah.
Getting some minutes under his belt, getting on the pitch. And and I think people again, Weghorst is taking a lot of the brunt of everything again, and it's not stop it. It's not his fault. Why are you everybody knows he's not
brilliant.
A high quality number 9. Everybody knows that though. Everybody knows that.
Yeah.
But we know what he brings to the team.
Yeah. Guarantee, right? Guarantee. Wout Weghorst will score when Tottenham play Manchester United later this month.
I mean, I hope so. That'd be amazing.
What's a bet on now?
But it's like you can't keep going at them because it's not Ten Hag's fault that the club wouldn't pay for a decent striker when we knew we needed
a good striker. He is a good striker. Weghorst? He's just not a good striker within your team.
He's a workhorse and he will run. Yeah. But he's not the quality. He's not quality. He's not going to get. You're not going to get what you want from him at that level.
No, because again,
he will work. He will work in, and he will be very important. He's very important to the way that we press, the way that we defend as a unit.
Yeah,
he's become important. But I think you'll find, hopefully, fingers crossed, Martial comes back thinking, right, I've got 10 games to prove myself.
Otherwise, I'm out the door. Yeah,
I'm off.
Yeah,
and hopefully that kind of triggers him into the Martial that scores all the goals again, which I thought we were going to get this season until he started having these injury problems.
So would you play Martial down the middle and Rashford out wide, or would you switch that around?
No, I think Martial's better as a 9 than out wide. Okay. I always have done. I think he plays better with his back to goal than Rashford does.
Yeah.
But he can also run in behind, so he can do both.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas Rashford doesn't do so well with the hold up. And I think that's what, you look at the way that Weghorst plays
That's
for
the
us.
way that Weghorst, he holds the ball up.
Yeah, he holds the ball up and brings the others in. Well, Martial can do that.
And still have the pace to get in behind.
And go in behind, whereas, central defenders at the minute, no Weghorst is going to drop in, so they just drop off.
Yeah.
He's like, go on then. Or they'll just close down on him because they know that he's not a danger in behind them because he can't spin them.
No.
They'll go and meet him.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, that's where the runs become important in those situations. So you've got your out to in runs from your wingers, so that if a central defender does go up against Weghorst, if he gets a little nick on it or can tap it back out to Bruno or say something quicker and we can get a ball in behind, that kind of works then. But yeah, I think Martial can do both, so that keeps defenders thinking.
I'm going to ask you something about Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah, go on.
Do you think he has become... I don't think he's playing as well as he had been, Bruno Fernandes. I think he's becoming more of a hindrance than a benefit to the team at the minute.
In what way?
Well, every time I seem to see him on the pitch, I just see him either turning around and complaining to somebody, or he's complaining to the referee. Doesn't actually seem to be doing what he's supposed to be doing.
I don't know. I mean, I'll always back Bruno. I just think, when he came in, he has these moments, but I think he's still, at the minute, he's our best midfielder that we've got.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
In terms of fitness, who's fit and who's ready to play. He can do ridiculous things with a football that no one else in that team can do. And so, what I think they need to do more, get him on the ball more.
Yeah.
Like, against Newcastle.
He was on the periphery of the game. Yeah.
Exactly. Give him the ball. Let him get involved. Because, the thing that surprised me at the weekend, actually, was Anthony coming off.
Yeah.
I think it's because he wanted
some joy. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's because he thought, because he keeps going back to pre-season, and I too am like that a little bit, where we had Rashford, Sancho, and Martial in that pre-season. We're on another level as a three, and I think, right, I'm bringing Martial on. Let's bring Jadon on because there's a bit of chemistry between those three. But actually, I think Anthony, he should have left Anthony on. He had Dan Burn
on toast
done so many times.
Yeah.
And I just thought, just leave that as it is. But yeah, I was a bit surprised. Well, I was a bit surprised that Martinez came off for play. I know he was trying to do something different.
Yeah.
By bringing Pelestri on for Martinez, but that surprised me. That change.
I think you're still in a fairly good position, though.
We're in a good position. We've got those 2 games, haven't we, on Tottenham, and
your goal difference, I think, is the only thing that I would say.
Well, yeah, we haven't, and that's more from obviously the 7 goals we shipped to Liverpool didn't help with that, but we haven't been scoring a lot really this season.
No.
Defensively, other than that Liverpool game and the City game at the start of the season, we've been pretty good. Obviously, the early season was slightly different, but since that City game at the start of the season up until the Liverpool game, we've been pretty solid.
Yeah.
But things just seem a little bit. And again, we've not got our man.
No, you've
our
not got
brick
Casemiro
wall.
Holding it all
We
together.
haven't got our brick.
Yeah.
We haven't got our brick wall in that midfield, and we're playing with the same midfield effectively. I mean, Sabitzer played, but in terms of, I mean, I like Sabitzer, but he does need that someone else with him.
Yeah, you don't expect Sabitzer to be there to do the dirty work.
He's a proper box to boxer.
Yeah,
and he's been asked to, and this is why Fred looks bad, because Fred isn't a defensive midfielder.
Player. He's a
I think I disagree. I think Fred is the box to box midfielder.
Right.
But for years he's been asked to play that defensive role, and it's not really his game.
No. All right. Yeah.
Not really what he's about. He's not about he doesn't sense danger necessarily very well.
No, he really
Whereas, Casemiro comes in and it's like, boom, I know exactly where you're going to play that ball. I know exactly where you're, that we haven't got. And I think, not having Casemiro shows our lack of depth in that area of our team.
It's all right. He'll be back just in time to play
again,
us.
And it's the same with Scott McTominay as well, by the way.
Mm.
Scott's the same. Everyone thinks of Scott as this defensive midfielder. He's not a defensive midfielder. He's another one who is he's more of a forward. Under 23s team, he was a striker.
Yeah, I mean, he scored 4 goals for Scotland in the international break.
Exactly. He only became a midfielder when he got into the first team, and I think Jose was the first player, maybe towards the end he dropped back into midfield with the under 23s as it was then.
Yeah.
And then Jose brought him in and stuck him in that defensive role, and he was just seen as a defensive midfielder.
Ah, good old Jose.
But I think Scott McTominay he's an attacking. He's good. He's got a good touch, and he can. I mean, his passing's not brilliant, but there's some argument to say, well, why don't you just stick Scott where Weghorst is? Because Scott McTominay will run his socks off.
Yeah.
He'll do and this is me. I think Scott will do everything Weghorst can do.
Yeah.
And he's got a bit more pace than him. So he probably could try and it might sound absolutely bonkers what I'm saying to you, but I don't think that it is. I think you could play Scott McTominay as our number 9, doing the same role that Weghorst is doing.
Yeah.
And I think we might have a bit more danger to him.
Eric, we've got an idea for you.
I just think that, it's bonkers, I know, but
get on the phone.
Give it a go, see what happens. But we'll see how we get on anyway. Right, is that?
No, we got one more to do.
What have we got to do?
We've got Nottingham Forest and Wolves to do.
Ah, the 1-1.
The 1-1 draw with a lot of controversy at the end of this game.
I didn't see this, so you can talk us through this.
So obviously Nottingham Forest go in front, and then there is an incident on the field where Daniel Podence looks like, although it wasn't proven, he wasn't sent off, it looks like he spat at Brendan Johnson. Yeah.
Was it just a foreshortening of the camera? Did Brendan Johnson react to it?
Well, put it this way. He did a spitting motion.
Yeah.
And Brendan Johnson put his hand to his face.
Okay.
So he wasn't sent off. VAR said it was no foul play or whatever they did for that. And then obviously Podence scores the equaliser with 7 minutes to go.
I think the FA have said since, haven't they, that they're looking into it.
They will look into it, yeah, because obviously you can't see it from the camera from VAR's perspective.
Yeah.
Obviously, you might get a retrospective ban for that. It's
if the ref didn't see it, yeah.
It's disgusting, frankly.
Yeah, it's dumb, innit?
To even do it. And it doesn't help your team. Because you could have left your team deep in the mire there.
Yeah. But then he turns around.
And he scores.
Gets the goal.
Yeah. So
Equaliser.
3 teams. Yeah. It's ridiculous down the bottom. I mean, I've got the live table up now because the games have started. But yeah. It's all picking off down the bottom.
Indeed. Right. So then, that's our Premier League roundup this week. It's very tight at the top, and less tight at the top. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
The battle for 4th is very interesting.
Yeah.
And then relegation battle is just a madness so far this season.
Definitely.
So then, shall we have a little look and see what's going on around the world?
Let's take a trip around the world, shall we? So there's only one place to start this week, and that is in the Bundesliga, where Thomas Tuchel got off to a winning start as Bayern Munich beat Dortmund to return to the summit with 10 games to go. Will Bayern claim their 11th straight Bundesliga title? We will have to wait and see. In Serie A, Milan inflict only Napoli's 3rd defeat of the season. 4-0, though, was the full-time score. Well, that was the biggest shock, as Milan move above Inter, who lost to Fiorentina. 7 points separate Lazio in 2nd to Atalanta in 6th, with Juventus 4 points further back as the race for Europe hots up. PSG lost 1-0 to Lyon as Lens closed the gap to 6 points at the top of the table. They are level on points with Marseille. PSG and Lens meet in 2 weeks' time. In La Liga, Karim Benzema scores a 7-minute hat-trick as Real put 6 past Valladolid. Just the 4 for Barcelona against Elche. It looks like the race for 2nd for Real Madrid, though. Barcelona have a 12-point lead. In the WSL, Arsenal came from a goal down to beat Manchester City. Leicester got a huge win over Reading to move off the bottom at Brighton's expense. They lost 4-0 to Manchester United. Chelsea and Everton were also winners. Special mentions for Chelsea and Arsenal, who progressed through to the Women's Champions League semis midweek. Chelsea face Barcelona while Arsenal take on Wolfsburg. In the MLS, St. Louis' unbeaten run is over. They lost 1-0 to Minnesota. In the A-League, 10-man Melbourne City secure a late draw with Newcastle Jets. Their lead at the top has been cut to 2 points as Adelaide United make it 4 wins in a row, beating Western Sydney. And lastly this week, we head to the EFL, where Bolton wins the Papa John's Trophy after beating Plymouth by 4-0. Reading have been dropped 6 points in the Championship, dropping them down to 20th place as it stands. And in South Wales, where Cardiff faced Swansea, and Cardiff-born Ben Kabanga scored a 99th minute winner for Swansea to win the game 3-2 in a pulsating clash in the Principality.
Very, very good indeed. Lots to get excited about. I was just having a look there while you were doing that to see if Paul Pogba's back in Juventus team, but it don't look like looks like he's injured again.
Oh, he's injured again. Oh dear.
Because he wasn't on the bench, and
Oops.
So I mean, I think he's played like 2 games for Juve since he went back.
At least they didn't pay any money for him, I guess.
Crazy. Right, that was real good. Around the world we go. I think that's pretty much it, isn't it?
No, we have an update.
What? We have a Donis update?
We have a Donis update.
Has he played football?
He has played football. The Austrian Bundesliga has now split into 2. So the top 6 and the bottom 6.
Now, I sort of remember this from last year.
Because El Tac were in the same situation. Yeah. They are in the same situation again. They are in the bottom 6. So the bottom side is relegated to the next division, the second division of the Austrian Bundesliga. But Hartberg lost by 1-0. Juric with the goal for them. Donis lasted just over an hour. He was booked again, though, so at least he's contributing.
I mean, sure. He gave away a free kick.
I don't think they scored from it.
Quite helpful. Well, Donis, I mean, I'll be honest. This is bad.
I mean, it's not.
It's bad. It's bad. It's bad. Right. Okay. So that's your Donis update. Should we have a look at? I mean, obviously there's games in midweek.
Yeah.
But let's have a look at the weekend fixtures in the Premier League.
Okay. So match day 30 in the Premier League. We start at Old Trafford. Manchester United taking on Everton. 3:00 games. There is Aston Villa versus Nottingham Forest. Brentford taking on Newcastle. Fulham taking on West Ham. Wolves taking on Chelsea. Tottenham taking on Brighton. Leicester taking on Bournemouth. Before the 5:30 game at St Mary's, Southampton versus Manchester City. And then 2 games on Sunday. Leeds against Crystal Palace. Another big game down the bottom at 2:00. Before we head to Anfield for Liverpool taking on Arsenal.
Going to be a very interesting one, that Liverpool-Arsenal game.
Because they don't have a great record there.
They don't have a great record at Anfield. But Liverpool aren't Liverpool right now. But on occasion, they've showed up.
Yes. And I would imagine...
Manchester City will be very, very much hoping that Liverpool show up.
And I would imagine Jurgen Klopp has probably had a word about their performance. I mean, we'll see with the Chelsea game that they play this midweek, whether they respond or not.
Yeah. Indeed. Right, so that's it from us this week. Thank you very much for listening. Don't forget, you can get in touch with us here by tweeting us at Let's Football Pod. You can email us at letsfootballpod@gmail.com. Like I said, we'll be back next week discussing all the big talking points from the Premier League that week and also anything else that might be happening interesting. But for now, we'll see you all then. All right. Bye.